like this format? Is this working for you? So like we first started off, I think, when John was introducing it, we said this is a new format. We're going to try it and do a little science experiment. And if it works, I have a feeling this is something that you're going to see in all future chart conferences. Quick bite-sized pieces. We started talking about hunger and a little bit around philanthropy. I'm actually the last one on stage during this format, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to guilt you, but it was interesting as we went through. We did have a lot of stuff around some competencies, around training, some tools. I didn't know the difference between a granny knot, so I appreciated Kurt as well on that. But wasn't it also interesting to see the number of people that weave some type of voluntelling, philanthropy in their sessions? And I'm going to do the same thing. We had complete autonomy as to what we wanted to talk about up here. I just found it interesting, like a third of us at some point said we need to do more. And so I'm going to do a little bit as well. And I know that we started off showing that great, by the way. That's the first time that I had seen that particular Share Our Strength video, the animated cartoon, which was about the Great American Dine Out. In fact, how many people met Sheila Bennett at the very end of the resource gallery? She was down there. Some of you probably wearing the wristbands. How many people went down there? She was wearing orange, had the wristbands. Great. Awesome organization. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment as well. I want to start with this statistic, though. It's a little bit different than the second one that I'm going to give, but the first one was shocking to me. 1 year ago today, CNN and USA Today also reported 40% of all food in the United States goes to waste. 40%. Think about that for a second. I mean, this is our industry, right? This is what we do. 40% of all food. Now, I assume that there would be some waste in there. I didn't know that it would be that high. But then when you layer on the number that you've already seen a couple times, even this morning, which is 1 in 5 kids live in poverty. They go to bed hungry. That is shocking. It's shocking in this country, and I know we've got an international audience. We actually have people from outside the U.S. that are going through this conference, and you would assume that in some places, third world countries, of course this is going to exist. This will exist in probably every country. But in this country, 20% of all kids go to bed hungry. And if you listen to the video earlier, I thought it was also shocking when I discovered the amount, the statistics literally of scores, grades, when kids are going through school, when they actually are living in poverty, about how low those scores are. The reality is that kids cannot learn when they're hungry. There is no doubt about it. So I've been to a lot of different food banks. I've had a lot of great opportunities to go spend time with, for instance, People Report. We do stuff with the North Texas Food Bank. And it's shocking to me when I'm there and listening to some of the things that they do, which is putting backpack programs together where they put food, healthy food, for kids to eat at night because they don't have dinner. They get the free breakfast, they get free lunch, but they don't eat dinner and they don't eat on the weekends. So what they do is food banks put together backpacks for kids to go eat when they go home on the weekend. I mean, I have 14-year-old twin daughters who have kids in here, who have kids. Think about for a second, your kids going to bed hungry or not eating the entire weekend. In this country, it's shocking. So my point on this is it's unacceptable. You've got to do better. Here's the other part that I would make with the CHART organization. I've been a member now for 16 years. Absolutely love this organization. And I only hang out with organizations now that I go to where I'm going to grow my head, but also that have some sort of a philanthropic, service, charitable tie to it. It has to. And my point with us in particular, our industry should own hunger. Second largest industry in the United States, right? 13.1, 13.2 million people work in our industry. And all the stuff that we were talking about, including Josh, was bringing up volunteering, whatever works for you. Is it the Humane Society? That's awesome. United Way? That's awesome. Red Cross? That's awesome. MS? Cancer? Whatever version, all of those things we should. Yes, and I just think that we should be figuring out a way. We are the ones that are delivering the food. Somehow we got to figure out how can we stomp on hunger? At the very least, childhood hunger. So are you at least with me on that? Like, we should throw our arms around it, figure out a way to do some stuff locally on your own, because you might have an employee that's going through something. Let's figure out what that is and let's help them out. If you've got a family member that's going through something, let's figure that out. That's cool. But in general, we should own hunger, childhood hunger for sure. So I started with these statistics just to sort of put it up there for a reason. Obviously, I could put a lot of things up here. I'm very lucky to say that I probably get a chance to talk about philanthropy in general, of which hunger is always going to be a part of it. I would say there's like 10, 12 things that I always stick up on the slides. I'm only going to put a couple up here because of the time that we have. I'd say the main reason from a guest standpoint is that there is no doubt people now are making decisions if something is unique, if it's different. We talk about having differentiated service experiences. You want a differentiated product. We all love each other. We're all friends in here. We're here to learn and grow and share and care. But the reality is, if you're going to survive, you've got to be different than everybody else from a business standpoint. People are now making decisions off of this. If you're not organic, if you're not recycling, if you're not tied somehow better to the community, it's going to be an issue for people. If you've got a similar product, they're going to start making decisions off of price, off of convenience, if in fact you have a similar concept. Now they're going to start making more and more decisions. We've been talking about this 10, 15 years, but it's coming to light. If you think it's negative for the way that the millennials think, and I don't, I relish it, I love that, but the reality is the one thing you cannot stomp on the kids of today, my kids, which is the next generation, I call them the digital natives, the I generation. Somebody said Generation Z yesterday. They care a lot about leaving a smaller footprint to give back into the world, to be better connected in society. This will be unacceptable for them. So they're looking for something differentiated that'll help. From an employee standpoint, which is where a lot of us will come into play, one, and I think it was probably Melissa that was talking about this, Papaleo, people want to do meaningful work, right? So it's just the same thing as guests. They're looking for differentiated experience. And if you're not a brand that isn't doing something bigger than myself, it's going to be an issue for me. I don't want to just come in and punch the time clock. I don't want to just come in and make the donuts. I need to belong to something bigger. If I'm a dishwasher, you got to show me how that's a bigger part of the picture. If I'm a busser and I'm awesome at spoons, you got to show me how to get to forks and how does that fit into the whole thing. So people want to work for something meaningful. The second thing that I would say up there is that it's got to be bigger than themselves, which is part of it, doing meaningful work. And the last one is you can galvanize your entire organization around something meaningful. I just happen to think that hunger should be something that we could do. Unlike a lot of other organizations, again, I'm not stomping on any of them because I think we ought to do all of them. I just think that you should figure out what the cause is for your particular company, your particular brand. MS, breast cancer awareness, there's all kinds of research. We're constantly doing research to figure out whatever the disease is. But hunger actually has a quantifiable, definitive number as to when it'll be eliminated. You could do the math. You can figure out what it is. We can tabulate it. I don't know what the number is, but we can actually point to a metric to say, at this point, we can eliminate getting rid of people being hungry. We just know that we can do that. So we have to figure out what we can do, and I think in our industry, we should throw our arms around that. Obviously, I'm a big proponent of this group, No Kid Hungry. The reason that I talk about No Kid Hungry or Share Strength, which is the parent company, right? It's dedicated to eliminating that, and I think that works for us. I'm not even sure if they're the biggest, but I do know that they're the ones that are the most invested, and a lot of you are already doing stuff with them. They do a lot of organization. I think Sheila was specifically here talking about the Great American Dine Out, which Jason showed you the video that said it's in September. And how many, I don't want to embarrass you, but how many of you are for sure your brand will be participating in September with the Dine Out? For sure. So we've got some hands in here, and it might be that your organization's already doing something else. I worked at Hard Rock International for 21 years. In November and December, they dedicate those entire 2 months to hunger. But it's global hunger. They work with a different organization, the World Hunger Year. They get it. They understand it. That's probably a lot of the reasons why I am the way that I am, because I was, immersed in that environment. There's not a single thing that they do, including live music concerts, that there's not some sort of a charitable component. They just happen to take 2 months to focus on hunger. So for me, I go, okay, fine. They don't want to participate in the Dine Out. They get a pass because they're already doing stuff. The rest of us, if we're not doing something, we ought to figure out what to do. So I'm a big believer in this. I just put some of the programs up there. The organizations that I support that I talked about are the ones that support No Kid Hungry. I'm going to continue to go to CHART because we have some type of a service event. I'm going to continue to go to People Report because they have some type of a service event. I'm going to continue to go to the NRA show. I have a huge love affair with the NRA because of the work that they do with No Kid Hungry. These are the things that I want to be associated with. And for me, when I'm looking at this whole mindset, by the way, you guys can go to the website It's strength.org. If you want to just take the pledge, it's free. It's easy to go up there. If you want some armbands, you can contact a lot of us in the room. We can give you one of those things just to show some solidarity that, in fact, our industry should be stomping on this in addition to whatever it is you think that makes sense for your particular brand. So I wanted to end with this. How many people know this performing artist? This is a singer named Tori Kelly. Couple hands? 3, 4, 5 hands? Okay, so I want to do something with you guys. I thought that would be unique. Again, I'm a hard rock guy, so I love music. I'm going to show you a little video of Tori Kelly. She was on American Idol in season 9. Right now, she's like my #1 philanthropic business crush. I absolutely love this girl. She's got an awesome voice, but the reason that I like her more than anything else is because she wrote a song about childhood hunger. And I've heard songs that have been written before that sort of seem squeezed in to make it work from a philanthropic standpoint. For me, this is absolutely a killer song. I like it anyway, but I edited a little part at the very end where she's talking about her concert tour, where and you know what, I don't want to steal the thunder. I'm gonna come back and talk about it, but I'm actually gonna show you the YouTube video of this one song just to make it different, because this is the world that I live in. This is Tori Kelly.
Okay. One more. There's so many lives struggling to fight just a little bit more, trying to provide, barely getting by, could be right next door. No one should be left alone in the dark with love and a broken heart. I know we can make the world better if we come together. You gotta believe that we can change the outcome if we join in, reach out a hand. All it takes is someone stepping forward and making a stand. You and I is where it starts. You and I can be a part, feed a soul, fill a heart. Feed a soul, fill a heart. You feel like giving up, doubts are growing, but you gotta keep on somehow. Hear the sound of hope, let everybody know we have the power to turn this around. No one should be left alone in the dark with love, fill a broken heart. I know we can make the world better if we come together. You gotta believe that we can change the outcome if we join in, reach out a hand. All it takes is someone stepping forward and making a stand. You and I is where it starts. You and I can be a part, feed a soul, fill a heart. Feed a soul, fill a heart. Yeah. Hear the sound of hope, let everybody know, let everybody know. We can change the outcome if we join in, so reach out a hand. All it takes is someone stepping forward, so let's make a stand. We can change the outcome. We join in, reach out a hand, reach out a hand, won't you? All it takes is someone stepping forward, making a stand. Oh, you and I is where it starts. Feel the soul, feel the heart.
last but definitely not least, I am so excited to announce that I am going to be going on tour. It's called the Fill a Heart Tour. I teamed up with ConAgra and wrote a song about ending child hunger. So on this tour, I'm going to be visiting food banks during the day and then having shows at night. So I'm really excited for it. I hope I can see you all there. Going to be hitting up San Francisco, Seattle, Boston, DC, Philly, Atlanta, Nashville, and Chicago. So yeah, for dates and for all that stuff, tickets and everything, you can check out my website as well. And yeah, I hope you guys are doing good and have a good day.
Come on, man, she's so cool, isn't she? So if you're able to listen to the words on there, I mean, seriously, we can make a difference, right? I mean, we can absolutely do something during our time, our shift, while it's happening. I mean, I honestly want to be a part of getting rid of hunger. I want it to happen in my lifetime. And I just think if we put our minds to it, this industry with 13 million people, we can certainly do that. So hope you had some fun. Hopefully I didn't guilt you into it, but I think that there are more organizations that are certainly headed in that direction. Pick the causes, right for your brand. I just choose for it to be childhood hunger. Thanks so much.